Hey, folks, did you know that deep in the Michigan woods, there's a mysterious creature that sends locals shivering in fear? This isn't just a tall tale for tourists. This is a story that's been turning heads for many years. In this video, I'll share incredible encounters with the mysterious Michigan Dogman, what lies behind these legends, and why everyone is talking about it. Let's dive in. Myth or reality? Let's get to the bottom of this. Myth or reality? In the northern forests of Michigan, according to legends, there lives a mysterious creature known as the Michigan Dogman. This creature has a terrifying appearance. The head of a dog is combined with a human body, and its blood-curdling howl strikes fear into everyone who hears it. Stories of such creatures date back to the time of the Kraken, and tales of legendary figures like the Yeti continue to appear today. However, only a few have heard of the Michigan Dogman, aside from those who have encountered its terrifying, human-like scream. It appears once every 10 years, mostly in years ending in 7, wandering through the wilds of northern Michigan. The first mentions of encounters with this creature date back to the late 19th century when two lumberjacks reportedly came across it. It appears once every 10 years, mostly in years ending in 7, wandering through the wilds of northern Michigan. The first recorded encounters with this creature date back to the late 19th century when two lumberjacks allegedly encountered it. Of those, the number of reports of encounters with the Dogman continues to grow. Whether this cryptide is an ancient form of wolf, a supernatural creature, or simply a figment of someone's imagination is unknown. However, those who claim to have encountered it insist that it really exists. The legend of the Michigan werewolf. Native Americans knew of the Michigan Dogman before settlers arrived. It once terrified the Ojibwe along the Manistee River. Some stories describe it as a shapeshifter, a werewolf changing from human to animal. The first documented encounter in Michigan was in 1887. In some stories, it's described as a shapeshifter, a werewolf capable of changing its form from human to animal and back again. The first documented encounter with the dog-headed monster in Michigan dates back to 1887. A group of lumberjacks working in Wexford County spotted a strange figure that they initially thought was just a regular stray dog. They started chasing it until it disappeared inside an old tree stump. Here's what one of the witnesses had to say. They started chasing it until it disappeared inside an old tree stump. Here's what one of the witnesses had to say. As we got closer to the stump, the creature started making sounds that resembled a human scream. It crawled out of there and stood on two legs right in front of us. We looked it in the face and saw a dog's head on a human body. Out of fear, we left the camp and never went back. It was after this meeting that rumors began to circulate that the dog appeared every 10 years. The next known encounter with the dog happened exactly a decade later, in 1897. In the vicinity of the town of Buckley, a dead farmer was found lying next to his plow. Giant dog tracks were found near his body. Could it be that the Michigan Dogman was responsible for his death? Another account dates back to 1907, when an elderly woman reported that dogs would gather around her house at night, howling like banshees. Finally, in 1917, a local sheriff found an abandoned wagon hitched to dead horses with their eyes wide open in terror. Veterinarians called in to examine the animals couldn't explain the cause of their sudden death. Modern evidence. In 2017, a man named Brad claimed to have witnessed an unusual incident in Michigan. He said he was clearing snow when he heard a loud splash in a nearby stream. Looking in the direction of the sound, Brad noticed a pair of yellow-orange eyes belonging to a creature about 7 to 8 feet tall. A moment later, the creature flew up and jumped into the air. For the next few seconds, all I could hear was the crackling of branches and a noise like something moving through the treetops. Brett shared, adding that it seemed as if the creature was jumping from one treetop to another. This isn't the only account. For example, there is a Reddit community called Dogman, which has over 24,000 subscribers and where various sightings of the Michigan dog are discussed. There are also many people who share their stories on the mysterious Michigan website. So, one user shared that one night, while driving through a dark stretch of road in Waterford, Michigan, he saw some mangy creature dart across the road and then disappear into the woods. It was definitely an unusual dog, the witness noted. Even if it was a coyote, it would be the biggest one I've ever seen. He was much larger, with a massive head, and looked like he had just emerged from the very depths of hell. Strange coincidences. In all the reports of encounters with the Michigan Dogman, there are common traits. Most witnesses describe it as a tall, about 7 foot tall, bipedal creature with blue or amber eyes, a human-like torso, and a terrifying scream. Rachel Clark noted that the creature's descriptions and encounter circumstances are similar. Initial reports often come from woodsmen who unexpectedly encounter it. Later, such encounters happen to people alone on deserted roads or in the woods. Most often, the first reports come from men working in the woods who unexpectedly encounter this creature while doing their jobs, she explained. Later, such encounters happen to people who find themselves alone, whether it's on a deserted road or in the woods. Their stories are remarkably similar. They see this creature jumping out of the woods, moving skillfully, sometimes leaping in front of a car or a person, and sometimes it scratches their house or tent. Habitat. In Linda Godfrey's book, I Know What I Saw, published in 2019, it is claimed that Manistee National Park holds the title of the primary habitat for the dogman. In the numerous episodes described in the book, this creature shows an incredible ability to easily leap from tree to tree, even in cold weather. Godfrey notes that encounters with this creature are often accompanied by unusual circumstances. According to local historians, the forests around Manistee Park hold many secret burial sites of Native Americans. In 1642, after an attack by the Iroquois, the remains of hundreds of men, women, and children from the Potawatomi tribe were hastily buried in these lands. Researchers believe that major traumatic events can leave a mark not only in the memories of those who experienced them but also in the landscape itself, giving rise to stories about haunted places and mystical creatures. Godfrey compares this phenomenon to Gettysburg, where the ghosts of soldiers have been repeatedly sighted after the Civil War. Dogman. An April Fool's joke. In 1987, a radio host from Traverse City, Steve Cook, decided to record a song about a werewolf. The song, titled The Legend of Dogman, aired on April 1st as part of an April Fool's joke. However, the listener's reaction was unexpected. Many called the radio station, claiming they had encountered a similar monster. Studying the legend led Cook to realize that it has deep roots in the history of Native Americans, which made it even more sinister, in his own words. I created all of this in my imagination as a joke for April Fool's Day, and suddenly I found myself facing a real legend that dates back to the times of Native Americans, Cook admitted in an interview with the Detroit Free Press in 2011. Press in 2011. Despite my skepticism, I believe people who are convinced they've seen something real. Cook told HuffPost in 2012 that he received a message from a woman who claimed she encountered this creature as a teenager in 1993. One night, a girl was smoking behind her family's house, not far from Rit City, and she noticed a light coming from an abandoned barn nearby. Peeking through a crack between the boards of the barn, she saw a two-legged creature with a dog's head staring back at her. Gable's film. The Michigan Dogman story took a new turn in 2007 when a mysterious video surfaced online, dubbed Gable's Film. The footage, shot on 30.01-inch film, initially looks like a typical home video of winter outings in the woods. Various clips show people riding snowmobiles among the snow-covered trees. The footage, shot on 30.01-inch film, initially looks like a typical home video of winter outings in the woods. In various clips, you can see people riding snowmobiles among the snow-covered trees or chopping wood. In one scene, the dog walks slowly along a road surrounded by trees, sniffing and listening to sounds in the distance. However, closer to the end of the clip, the cameraman spots some strange hairy creature in the woods and starts to chase it. When he gets close enough to film the creature up close, it suddenly lunges at him. The image becomes blurry as the cameraman panics and runs away. When he gets close enough to film the creature up close, it suddenly lunges at the cameraman. The image becomes blurry as the cameraman runs away in panic. Sharp teeth are visible visible, and then the camera drops to the ground as the monster presumably catches up with its victim. After Gable's film spread online, many started claiming that the creature captured on film is the Michigan Dogman. Later, a man named Micah Grusa admitted that he shot the footage and that the story about the forest monster was a hoax. Thus, the tale of the Michigan Dogman itself spawned new myths. Later, a man named Micah Grusa admitted that he shot the footage and that the story about the forest monster was a hoax. Michigan Dogman myths emerged. Monsters people claim to see might just be bears on hind legs. And the legends about the creation of such films and songs will lead enthusiastic researchers into new depths. Of course, it's quite possible that the monsters people claim to have seen are actually just ordinary bears standing on their hind legs. But who knows what secrets the forests of Michigan hold? Stay tuned, and you'll find out what other monsters you can encounter in America's forests. In Washington state, near Mount St. Helens, there's a legend about a mysterious monster with unique characteristics. This creature is described as a primate with wings like a bat. Its eyes have a yellow tint, and its paws resemble bird claws. The monster has sharp teeth and blue fur, reaching a height of about 10 feet. The first encounter with this creature happened in the late 90s. Since then, several people, including a group of tourists, have reported sightings of this strange creature in the sky. The monster always kept its distance from people, trying to quickly disappear from sight. Thunderbird or Thunderbird. In North America, large birds have traditionally been held in special regard by the indigenous people. For the Native Americans, they were considered messengers of the gods, connecting links between the world of humans and divine forces. Encounters with such birds most often occurred in the western territories of the continent. One of the well-known incidents was an event from the late 19th century when two cowboys shot a large bird. It was notable for its lack of feathers, and its snout resembled that of an alligator. In the late 1970s, a boy was attacked by two large birds. One bird lifted him briefly before his mother intervened. Witnesses said the birds were nearly 5 feet long. One of them managed to grab the boy and carry him a few feet before his mother was able to rush out of the house and save her son. Witnesses described these birds as having bodies just under 5 feet long. Their wings were the same size. The birds had powerful beaks and claws on their feet, and their bodies were black. The Lake Worth monster in a small Texas town called Lake Worth. There's a legend about a mysterious creature that's described as a half-man, half-goat. This monster has a body covered in fur and scales, and its fingers end in long, sharp claws. The first mentions of it appeared in the late 1960s. The strange creature often scared young couples looking for some privacy near the woods and the lake. The monster didn't always behave peacefully. One time, it jumped down from a tree onto the car of one of the witnesses, causing damage. On top of that, it stole a tire and threw it at people passing by. One time, it jumped down from a tree onto the car of one of the witnesses, causing damage. Additionally, it stole a tire and threw it at people passing by. Despite all the efforts, they never managed to catch the creature. He also stole a tire and threw it at people passing by. Despite all the efforts, they never managed to catch the creature. The Ozark Howler is a mysterious creature that inhabits 4 American states at once: Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, and Missouri. It is a large beast, comparable in size to a bear, with a massive body and powerful limbs. The animal's body is covered in thick, shaggy fur, and it has noticeable horns on its head. It makes unusual sounds that resemble a roar. The first encounter with such a beast was recorded in the early 19th century. Since then, people have periodically reported encounters with this mysterious creature. The Loveland frog. It is 4 feet tall, with green skin and webbed limbs. Legend says it was seen in the 1950s. This tall creature stands about 4 feet high, with greenish skin and webbed hands and feet. In the mid-1950s, a man saw frog-like humanoids under a bridge. These creatures were crouching and about 3 feet tall. Other witnesses also described similar beings. They had wide mouths without lips and wrinkles instead of hair. The police encountered them a few times, but they always escaped. They had wide mouths without lips and wrinkles instead of hair. The police have also encountered these creatures a few times, but each time, they managed to escape. The Wendigo primarily inhabits the cold regions of North America and appears in the winter. In Native American culture, the Wendigo symbolizes a harsh and hungry winter. The Wendigo is a wild beast with immense strength. Wendigos are tall and gaunt, or their bodies are covered in fur, or they are completely bald. Some Wendigos lack earlobes or fingers on their hands. Sometimes their bodies are covered in fur, while other times they are completely bald. Some Wendigos lack earlobes or fingers on their hands. They have long claws on their hands, and their teeth are sharp. These creatures have excellent hearing and vision. Wendigos are known for their love of hunting, and their main prey is humans. Due to their speed and strength, it's nearly impossible to avoid an encounter with a Wendigo. Cryptids have become popular through folklore and various cultural traditions, as well as modern stories and eyewitness accounts. Do they really exist? The story remains silent. Hey friends, I have an interesting offer for you. You have a unique opportunity to become part of our team. If you have video editing skills, can voice videos in Russian, English, and other languages, or write interesting scripts, we will be glad to work with you. Message our Telegram bot, the link is in the description. That's all for today. Thanks for watching.